Because in the top left-hand side, tricked you there, playing for Cosmos Esports, he is the red Zerg player. Representing Sweden, it's SortOf. And now we see the real reason I tricked you.
That's right. In the bottom left-hand side of the map, in the blue. Is it bottom right? It's bottom right. In the blue from B100 and Russia, it is Vanya.
B100, that's his team's name.
That's right. He's one of the only Russian players who is not on 3D or Cascade. In fact, I don't know what the B100 roster looks like. I'm going to look that up for a minute. But B100,
they may be Chinese.
What is?
B100, I have a feeling maybe a Chinese team.
They literally do not have a Wikipedia page, so I have no idea. But yeah, almost every Russian player, it's usually a safe guess that they're on 3D or on Cascade.
Yeah,
but not the case here. It's like a Polish player. You can there's like a 90% chance they're on Blazer Esports, but there are just a few who aren't, right?
Yeah, definitely. The B100 logo looks so good.
It does, doesn't it? A little throwback, a little retro. It's nice, man. Anyhow, we got standard openings here for both players, right? Hatch, gas, pool going down. Nothing surprising. As we said, players, I think in game one, eager to get some points on the board, put themselves in a strong position for game two.
Yeah, you just want to feel your opponent out, you know? You want to be like, okay, what is he doing? What is he feeling? Am I just playing better? Is he playing out of his skin today? SortOf as well. We saw him do a lot of like burrowed roach stuff yesterday. So if you're Vanya, you do need to be a little bit worried about the aggression coming out of the Swede, and just play it safe, play it slow.
I have a couple notes. Can we go back to SortOf's main base really quickly? This Zerg skin has a crystal on it somewhere, and I can't tell where it is. Oh yeah, it's like crystals on the inside of those metallic things on the spines. That's dope. But what I really wanted to say was, for those of you who don't know, SortOf is a Swedish player, but he's actually been living in South Korea for a while. However, he's just returned to Sweden last month, I believe. So, SortOf and Vanya have played each other several times before, but the last couple times they've clashed has certainly been when SortOf was playing cross-server, probably to the EU server against Vanya. So they may not be as practiced against each other as you might expect. I mean, you'd think, two European Zerg players, fairly even skill levels, probably similarly ranked on a Ligulac. They probably know each other inside and out. But with SortOf moving back to Europe very recently, I do wonder how familiar these guys are with each other's styles and how much preparation they've been doing. What do you think, Grant? Is SortOf going to be a bit of an X factor here, as Vanya might not be as familiar with his builds?
I think there's definitely a possibility. Now, the good news is SortOf has played ZVZ so far in this tournament, so there is that little bit of information out here. That was nice of SortOf. He does end up losing 2 lings for, what, 1? Yeah, but it was cute what he tried to do, and I appreciate that. Now, we do have Baning Nest for both our players. Things are pretty normal, but yeah, I think Creighton, I may agree with you. Now, Vanya plays a lot of online leagues. Like, I'm pretty sure
that is another statement.
Yeah, and SortOf also, specifically in the last few months, I found, has been playing a lot too. So I don't have the specifics of when they and how often they've last played. I haven't looked at a Ligulac to get that score because I'm lazy. But I would say I really find this an interesting matchup. Yesterday, I'd have gone. If you'd have asked me yesterday morning, I'd have said Vanya wins this. It probably won't be that difficult because I didn't think SortOf was in great form. And then he beat Elaser 2-0, and it looked easy.
Yeah, he really did, and I don't know if you surely you follow Laser on Twitter, right? Yeah, he was not pleased with his performance. Yesterday, unhappy as he should have been. I think he performed subpar, put on some great games. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, not the performance we expected from Laser. The bar is so high for that guy, so we'll see.
Build's still very similar.
Alfarov Victor in the chat is correcting us. Before we look at these Roach speed timings, Alfarov Victor, who has one of the most Russian names I've ever seen, says it's not Vanya like it's German. It's apparently Wanya like wagon.
Oh.
So if you want to sound really Russian, it's SortOf versus Vanya.
I didn't know that. I mean, I've called him Vanya for like 5 years, and I'm going to get it wrong, but I'll think about it.
Are we getting trolled? Anything. I'm always worried I'm getting trolled by somebody.
Yeah, me too. So I'm sticking with Vanya because everyone knows him as that. If that's what Rotti calls him, that's what I'll call him.
Again, co-casters, you go Vanya, I'll go Wanya, and we'll call it even. But look at what SortOf is doing here. While he isn't going to get spotted, I don't think. Oh my God, he's dropping that Nidus Worm. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so Nidus Worm coming in now. Now, we do have Lings running by here for Vanya, not Wanya. And he isn't going to be able to see this Nidus Worm yet. So we can see he has no idea. Now he's going in. Now he sees... Oh, it's cancelled. But he did see the cancelled text.
Interesting. Really interesting from Vanya there. I'm not sure if he knows what to expect now. We don't see another Nidus Worm going down for SortOf. But both... I mean, man, this is a very even game so far. Drone count identical. Literally identical. One Baneling not going to do a whole lot there. Upgrade timings same to the second. And the Roach count should be fairly even as these players continue to build up. This is really interesting.
Yeah, we can see upgrades now finishing up for both. We are getting SortOf here with Pneumatized Carapace trying to get some information here. Glial Reconstitution is finishing off here for both of our players very shortly, so that's rich speed. SortOf's very slightly behind, but it's really not going to be at all instrumental here, as we do see Vanya moving out, and he does have an army supply lead, to say the least.
Yeah, 74 to 46, definitely. We see +2 for SortOf. He's trying to invest in that tech, going for a longer game. His Overlord's out of position, though. Note that he hasn't spotted this move out from Vanya until just now. He's going to see these Ravagers, the Ravagers are going to push forward, trying to draw these Overlords out. One Overlord does go down here, and Vanya is setting himself up for a big, big fight here, and SortOf immediately cranks out 10 Roaches right away.
He has no Ravagers, though. This is all going to be dodging biles right now. And when you're dodging biles, you're not shooting. You can't shoot and move like a battlecruiser. And right now, I really like what Vanya is doing. He's really starting to make some things happen. He's killed a couple of workers. He's been using these biles to do a lot of damage, and if not damage, to do a lot of zoning. He biles down a bunch of the eggs as well, which is very, very nice. And it looks like Vanya's going for it. Vanya, as I mess up my camera, is going to push through and look for the end of the game. The mouse has just decided to explode. He's killed so many workers. He's killed so many roaches. The supply 140 to 90, Creighton Olsen.
Yeah, things are looking great here for Vanya. He got a couple things that he did really well there, but most importantly, he read when this timing was, sort of trying to get in behind this, but Vanya gets the kill on the third base, and even if he loses all his roaches here in this initial attack, which he's not going to do, even if he lost all of them there, that would still be a big win for Vanya. So here's what he did, and this is what the really smart thing is for Vanya. He saw that Nidus Worm going down. He saw it canceled, right? And that means that SortOf was expecting to go for a longer gameplay. I think SortOf thought that he had tricked Vanya a little bit. He's like, I canceled it. You'll never know now. But SortOf still in that late game mindset. And Vanya saw that he had a position to move in and attack in the mid game before SortOf was really ready for it. SortOf trying to invest in more tech, trying to saturate up his third base, and just wasn't quite able to defend against it. So really nice play from Vanya there. And he's going to hit again really hard. Now, this time SortOf will have +2. Is that going to change the fight for us, Grant?
Yeah, I think the possibility is army supplies, it's a little bit closer, but right now we really need to see a few more roaches coming out right now for SortOf. He may well lose his base, he may even have to give it up. He finally has a couple of Ravagers of his own, which are going to help out, but the main problem SortOf had this game, and he's fixed it now, is his Overlord spread was absolutely awful. He didn't have any units on his opponent's half of the map. Now you can see he's patrolling loads of them, but he could have completely stopped that attack from coming in, or at least had enough time to produce a lot more units and set up a better concave if he had just been a bit more aware. And that's a bit of a shame. Now we do have roaches. Oh, this is not a good concave here for SortOf. Vanya's is phenomenal, though. You can see he's really trying to find that better concave. Vanya and SortOf still very close in supply, as Vanya does make 12 more roaches and ruins that statement for me.
Yeah, correct. So yeah, still Vanya ahead slightly here, and the Spires are finished up. We're going to see Mutas coming down on both sides, 5 on one, 4 on the other. It looks like both players are sort of going through the same thought processes in their head, right? You get to the point where it's fairly even up, and you're thinking, how on earth can I take an advantage here when this game is so tight? Vanya's slightly behind on upgrades, but working on flyer attack level 1 ahead of SortOf here.
Yeah, and we can see there was a rogue counter attack queued up here for Vanya that has been dealt with by SortOf, which is very, very nice. SortOf's army supply is still pretty healthy, and he does have that upgrade advantage for another good minute, which is, if he can find an angle and get some damage done, could be very nice. Now, we're going to see Mutas from both sides, as you previously said, Creighton, and they're probably just going to clear up a load of Overlords and then maybe go for harassment. SortOf quite supply blocked right now. He's actually not shown his Mutas yet. Now he will. Nope.
Yeah, you must suspect now on when the third base has gone down, you don't have a lot of options here. So Vanya going to get those Mutas out. Takes down a couple of Roaches as well. It doesn't matter how good your Roach attack is when you're up against Mutas. Yeah. And finally, the Muta fight's going to come down, and this is going to come down to control, I think, for these two players. Still anybody's game, but Vanya looking really strong now at 63 workers to the 40 of SortOf.
Yeah, the worker count is
ahead on roaches, ahead on queens, just ahead in every factor. And these glaive.
He cancelled his upgrade.
He did cancel his upgrades. Interesting.
Now, Vanya does win the air fight pretty handily, and what that means is his Mutalisk is going to be sitting here tickling away at these roaches for a long time. But every Mutalisk piece of DPS that he gets is nice. GG is called, yeah, sort of knows he just has nothing left. Vanya takes game 1.
Yeah. Again, this game, I think one of our more even games of the day, sort of in Vanya, really difficult to call. I mean, some of these earlier games, when we're going into them, at least, of course, things change very quickly once you're in game. But if we're going into some of the earlier series, it was very easy for us to say, okay, this player's clearly favored. Here's what we can expect. Even if it doesn't turn out the way we thought it was going to, it's still easy for us to have those suspicions about what's going to happen. I feel like Vanya was it would be very difficult for me to call before the game who was going to come out on top here. Not only is ZVT a volatile matchup, but these two players very evenly matched. And then, as we said at the beginning of the match, they might not have actually played each other very often before this.
Players are ready for map 2. Currently, Vanya leads the series 1-0. We'll be moving into Everdream now. This is potentially our final map of the day, Creighton.
Which is surprising. SortOf and Vanya both putting up 2-0 wins in their first match against their players here in Group D. So finally, we're going to see one of them drop down to 1-1 and the other one moving up to 2-0 to join. Who else in their group is 2-0? Oh, nobody in their group is 2-0 yet. It'll be the first 2-0 player in Group D.
And Creighton, I just saw something crazy, and I don't know if it's true.
Oh, tell me more.
Apparently, Denver beat Showtime 2-0.
Wow. Denver. That young French player is so good, so underrated, and currently teamless, I believe. So somebody picked Denver up.
Yeah, if you can beat Showtime 2-0, you're having a great game. And in the bottom left-hand side here, representing Cosmos Esports, he is the Swedish Zerg player. God, I love making transitions like that. He is SortOf.
I'm going to ruin your great transition, Grant, and just correct myself. Denver is no longer teamless. After leaving Infinity Gaming, or after Infinity Games shut their doors, he joined Coca Authentique Pepita? KAP Gaming. I have no idea what that is. Some French team. Anyway, SortOf's opponent in the bottom left, in the top right-hand side, in the red, our Russian player from B100 opening up with that pool first opener. It is Vanya. Or Wanya.
I can't accept it. So Vanya in this game is... He knows he's up. He can throw something away if he needs to, and he is going for it. I expect to see a load of drones pulled very shortly, and here we go. He should be 3 behind. That is...
Yes!
Now,
so,
overlords.
Sorry, we've seen this several times. Tell us more about what we're about to see, Grant. What does Vanya need to do to make this work?
So what he needs to do is get the spines up and defend the spines. Once the spines are up on the high ground, he's in a very, very good position. Now, it's very important for SortOf to establish this and start to do... He's going to completely wall off. It doesn't work.
He doesn't... There it is. With the hatch, you got to put the hatch down. This is a huge investment, but it might pay off for him. The Lynx need to get on top of some of these and focus down whatever's the latest here.
Oh, it's so complete!
Oh my god. Oh my god. SortOf critical mistake. And now Vanya can get these spines in, get the drones in, get the Lynx behind it.
That's it.
Oh, this is looking bad for Rickard Mechanics Bergman.
Yeah, that's absolutely the most tragic start to a game, the tragic start to a defense I've ever seen. I actually feel so bad for the guy right now because he really was like, oh god, this is a really smart defense, and then this happens. Now spine crawlers, he has managed to get 2 down. That's a nice start, and if he can stop the spines of Vanya, he can still be in a decent spot, but these spines of Vanya are now going to finish, and they are already in a very good position. You're going to see them start moving forward. Oh, that one's not going to get to burrow. That's nice, but now look, these two are going to start firing away, and they do so much damage. They one-shot everything currently on the field. And now all 3 of them are going to burrow in the most aggressive position they can be in. You see the 1 spine here of SortOf moving forward, and that's okay. But 2 spines beat 1 spine, Creighton Olsen, and 3 spines beat 1 spine even harder. And now this is just so awful here for SortOf.
That sounds right. 1 spine down for Rickard, 2nd spine down as well. And this is going from bad to worse for our Swedish player, who is not making an auspicious game 2 here in his 2nd series. The link count down to almost nothing. There are, of course, a couple of... there's 1 queen here for some transfuses, but it doesn't help out. 2 Spines still alive, Ling's still alive, and Vanya even ahead on workers now. Oh boy. Oh boy. This is rough.
There we go. GG.